Okay, what's up, guys? So we are going to have this call every month. This is the first time we're doing this call. So just know, I know this is kind of new for some of you. This call is going to be the same thing every month. So once you're on it once, that's the only time you need to be on it. Just like our new coach leader call that we also have every month. That one's going to be next Wednesday, I think. Yeah, next Wednesday. It's on the team calendar and the team page. You can check it out. But you want to make sure that you have like a pen and paper to take notes. And then if you need to rewatch this call, you can obviously always watch the recording. The recording will be in the files tab of the team page just under new coach social media game plan call. And then I will, every time we have a new one, I'll always delete the old link and upload the new one. Just for when you start building your team, you can let coaches know to either get on this call live or check it out. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. So got it. So today we're going to be talking about social media game plan call. I'm not going to go too much in depth in terms of exactly how to work your social media and a lot of the specifics, because we go over that in the 7-day quick start and the 21-day coach training, and there's tons and tons and tons of information, past team calls, information on YouTube with that. I am definitely going to be giving you guys a lot of stuff that you can use, but since that stuff's already covered in the training, I don't want to just completely reiterate the same thing. I will be going over some common themes and whatnot, but since social media is always changing, I just feel like it was really important to do this call. So every time new coaches come in, they can kind of, see what's new. And the other piece of this is that we're going to be talking about an actual game plan. It's going to differ for each person, so it's important that you talk to your upline or whatever coach signed you up and let them know, specifics in terms of, what you need help with. But this will give you a base general idea of kind of what to do, because if you go into social media just flying by the seat of your pants, it's really not going to help you as much as you kind of have a game plan. And believe me, for the first year and a half to 2 years of my business, I totally flew by the seat of my pants. So if you're doing that right now, it's totally okay. It's just going to help you long term if you kind of have a game plan. So let's talk about why we're having this call. So number one, social media is our billboard. As coaches, this is what we imagine if you were to open up a new cupcake shop down the street and you never turned the open sign. You're not letting people know that you're quote unquote open for business, or that you're, working with people doing what you're doing if you don't post on social media. Gone are the days where you have to post 16 times a day. On Instagram stories, you want to post, a decent amount, but on your page, you can post once a day, sometimes every other day, just because it's kind of better, but only if you're consistently using the other things like Instagram, stories and Instagram TV. Number two, this business gets so much fun when you start vibing and working with your people, your specific people. If you are a mom of twins and you find other moms of twins, it's gonna be so much fun. If you are like me and you have tattoos and you like to go to music festivals, when I find those people, oh my gosh, it's the most fun thing ever. So the reason why social media is so important is because when you are being you, when you're genuine, you're vulnerable, and you share your story, you will start attracting those kinds of people. It's not about being skinny and being this and being that. It's just about sharing you, and it doesn't matter what you look like. People are going to just be attracted to that. Number three is you fail to plan to fail. You've heard this 1,000 times, but so many of you aren't doing it. You're still kind of just winging it, and there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're being consistent. But if you really treat it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. You really need to make sure that with social media that you're planning your posts, you're planning the kind of feedback or the kind of things you want to teach the people that are following you on social media. You don't have to be, this expert that knows everything about physics, but if you are really good at making your own dog's food, or you like to knit baby sweaters, that's something that you could share on your social media and people could connect with that. Because it's not just about health and fitness. Oh my gosh, it is so much more than health and fitness. And we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. Number four is paying attention to trends and knowing what to use and what not will limit stress and frustration. You're never going to get rid of stress and frustration when it comes to social media. It just is a part of it. And there's going to be times where it's really frustrating and you don't know what's going on and things are constantly changing, and it's what the hell? I thought this worked, and last week this worked, and this week it didn't. So it's totally normal to feel that way. But when you are paying attention to what works, and if you were on our team call this past Tuesday, it's posted in the team page under in the files tab of the team page under Team Confidence Team Call Recordings. I talked about like the new updated ways to crush it on social media. I'm going to be talking about some of them today. But if you kind of know that, you know, Instagram Live is doing a lot better than just posting on your page sometimes, you need to be taking advantage of that. And number 5, this is supposed to be fun, guys. This shouldn't be something that you're constantly stressing about or you're frustrated with. There's going to be days where it is frustrating and you do get like, you're just like, I don't feel like posting anything. But for the most part, this should be fun. It shouldn't be something that you dread. So that's why this whole call is really going to help you get a handle on all of that. So when you're posting, when you're sharing, when you're connecting with people, it's going to be so much more fun. Okay, so let's talk about having a lifer. Lifers are so important to your business. A lifer is basically something, it's the same idea as like your niche or your target market, but lifer is a little bit different. It's the word that Chalene Johnson uses, and it's basically somebody who finds your page, just connects with you, and is like, oh my gosh, like I'm riding with this girl to the end. Like I could check her page all the time. You are probably a lifer of someone else. You are probably a lifer of a celebrity or a band, or maybe even a dog. I love Doug the Pug. Anytime he posts something new, like I'm all about it. I think he's the cutest thing ever. I am a lifer of Doug the Pug because his content's really funny and I just love what he shares. Like I love it's obviously his dog mom, but you want to find and attract lifers to you. So whatever your thing is, and it'll take time to figure that out, those are the kind of people that you want to attract, and those are the kind of people you want to be working with. So if you try to work with everyone, you reach no one. So many people are just trying to work with anybody and everyone that they can, but that's not really going to help you. And it comes in terms of what you're posting on your social media. So you don't want to just post general health and fitness things. You want to post the specific. So I talk about, I have tattoos and my struggles with binge eating, and I talk about Ned, and I'm really like weird sometimes on my Instagram stories, and I like to like lip sing and dance. There are people that probably watch my stuff and are like, this girl's a psychopath. And they unfollow and they're like, this girl's so weird. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't want to work with those people anyway. I want the people that see me being a goofball and they're like, oh my gosh, I could totally hang out with this girl. That's your goal. When I talk on my Instagram story, the best advice I ever got was when you're talking on your Instagram story and you're doing whatever you're doing, you want to talk to it like you're FaceTiming with your best friend. That is really going to help when people watch it. They're going to feel like you're just being best buds with them. So it's really important that you kind of have that vibe. So number 1, you want to ask yourself, what do I want people to feel when they come to my page? Do I want to educate them? Do I want to inspire them? Do I want to make them laugh? Do I want to make them feel all the feels? And again, this is going to be something that takes a bit, especially if you're a new coach, but just make sure that it's in the forefront of your mind. If you don't feel like you can educate somebody on something, become an expert in it. And by that, I mean, I just talked about this in the team call. Pick like 10 things that you are at least interested in. Maybe it's knitting, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's something that is not health and fitness. And make it a goal to start learning more about that topic. So let's say you wanted to get better at playing guitar. You could make it a goal for the next 6 months, every week, or every day, you're going to learn a new song or watch a YouTube video or read an article or something that you can do to make you better at that. Let's say that you want to get really good at understanding how to eat for something like IBS. Even though that might be fitness or whatever, or not fitness, nutrition, you can learn, you can read some articles, read some books, do some research on foods that work really well with IBS. Ask questions, like do those things, and then you can start sharing those on your social media. If you really aren't educating yourself on something that you're interested in, you're going to start to kind of feel like you're just posting the same thing. Now, sharing your workouts, sharing your nutrition, all that stuff is super important, but it's really good to get good at something. And also ask yourself, and this is something you got to do on your own, but what do people say about you when you leave the room? So think about that as when they leave your social media. Not that they're gossiping about you, but you want people when they leave your page to feel a certain way, whether that's warm and fuzzy or your kids are adorable and they just want to keep coming back because you keep putting them in cute clothes, whatever it is, think about that. Also, when it comes to your life phase, I think we talk about this possibly in the training. We've definitely talked about this in some of the team calls recently, but we learned this past year at Summit. And what that is your life phase is what you're currently going through. So that could be that you're newly engaged, that you're pregnant, that you're a new mom, new home, new job, that you're traveling, you're a student. There's something in your life, some kind of phase that you're in. For me, it was really hard to figure it out because I'm not engaged, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I haven't bought a new house. And for me, it was just like, I'm in a new city, I love to travel, and I like get tattoos constantly, and I love music festivals. So it's a little bit different than your interests. If you don't really have a phase, like you kind of got to get more specific. But for a lot of you who are new moms or you're pregnant, like the life phase that you're in, those are the things that you want to think about. So like if, let's say you are a new mom, you got to ask yourself, okay, what am I going to post this week on social media? Okay, what are the things that are keeping other new moms up at night when they're up at 3 a.m. and they can't sleep, or they're rocking the baby to sleep? What are they searching on Pinterest? What kind of things are they looking up on Instagram? And that's what you want to share on your page. And those are the hashtags you want to use. So you're going to attract those people and have those conversations on your social media. We also talk about a lot of this stuff in the day 3 of the 21 Day Coach Training. Okay, next we're going to talk about consistency. Consistency is so key in this business. Consistency with everything. But you cannot crush it on social media one week and then go completely MIA for another week and keep doing that back and forth. You have to be consistent. And even when things aren't going that well, you still have to show up. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to like completely drain yourself and when something goes wrong, you can't like have family first. All of those things are important, but you have to find a good balance of finding ways that even when things aren't going well, share that. Other people's lives are just as crazy as yours, and you trying to make it seem this perfect picture, beautiful thing is not going to connect with anybody. But if I've posted before when I've had like my entire floor covered in laundry and my dishes were like filled up to the brim. And I remember when I shared that on my Instagram story one time, like people were like, oh my God, me too, me too. And a lot of people would be like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm not going to share that kind of thing. So sometimes you just have to share when your life is a mess. Okay, so do not expect people to take you seriously if, one, you don't post daily, and this is all about consistency. One, you don't post daily. One, if you don't work on yourself mentally and physically every day. So that means doing your workouts, working on your nutrition. That doesn't mean you have to have a 500-pound, transformation, but you do have to be working on yourself. You cannot expect to be successful in this business without some sort of transformation. I don't mean that in a superficial way, but it means that you're being consistent on working on yourself, whether it be physically or mentally or both. You can't expect people to take you seriously if you don't interact with people daily. So that doesn't just mean posting on social media, which is what we're talking about, but you got to also get in there. Have conversations with people, ask questions, go through the hashtags, comment on people's things. Like that's a part of it. Once you get to a higher level, there's lots of different things that you can do where you don't have to spend your life doing that. And I'm at that level. I still comment and interact with people, but not as much as I did because I've added higher level. But until you get to that point, that's what you have to do. And then if you don't try to bring new people in every day, and that just goes hand in hand with the last thing. So there's just difference between consistency and perfection. Like I say at the bottom, life will happen. Share it when it does instead of hiding. If it's something super personal that like someone else isn't comfortable with you sharing, that's one thing. But if it's just you deciding whether you want to share it or not, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now, there are things that like I would not share at the beginning of my journey, but now I like don't even blink an eye at doing. You will get better at doing that. Okay. So let's talk about the game plan. So there's 3 tips I have when it comes to making a game plan. Number 1 is to plan out your posts before the week starts. This is super key, and I don't think a lot of people are doing it. I know I was not doing it as a brand new coach. Now, this is just a sample. This is not what you have to do because you want to change it up every week. You don't want it to necessarily be the same, but this is just to give you an idea. So at the beginning of every week, I take one of these notepads, I write Monday through Sunday, and I write an idea of what I could possibly post about based off groups that I have going on, based off new announcements, based off what time of the month it is. So this is what like a week might look like for me. So Monday I might post a motivational post, maybe a quote. Tuesday might be a transformation. Wednesday might be a coach call to action. Ned, ew. Thought he just threw up. Sorry. You okay, dude? That's gross. Thursday is sharing something vulnerable, sharing my story. Friday is a funny meme. Saturday is family time, and Sunday is a challenge group call to action. So those are just some ideas. There's a team calendar in the team page that gives ideas as well. So you can do that. Next, stop it. Okay. Number 2 is to ask people what they want to see. Oh, before I move on to the next part, when it comes to planning your post, do this every week. I promise you, it takes me maybe a minute, not even, like sometimes 30 seconds. So make sure that you do it. Number 2, ask people what they want to see. If you don't know what to post, ask people. Post polls. Make posts asking, like, do you like it better when I post food or about, workouts? Or do you like when I post about my dog or my kids? Like, I don't know, ask them, ask for feedback. Work from a post idea list. We give tons of those in the new coach training. You can find tons of them online, and in the team calendar at the top of the page, there's also ideas. Your call to actions, your CTAs, call to actions should be planned ahead based off the calendar. So I just shared the calendar. That means that if you see that our challenge group, our clean eating group starts on November 12th, don't post about our clean eating group on November 10th. You should be posting about it like tomorrow. I know I'm going to be posting about it tomorrow. So you have to look at the calendar and plan ahead. Again, treat it like a business. It's going to pay you like a business. Any announcements, making sure you're following the 80-20 rule, which means 80% of your posts should be your life and you and everything else. Anything. The other 20%, only 20% of your page should be Beachbody stuff. And again, using curiosity marketing, which is not talking about or not saying the name of the product, but talking about it. So instead of Shakeology, it's my daily superfoods. Instead of Energize, it's my magic yellow crack, which I call it. Some people call it their go-go juice or their mom juice, whatever it is. Next is you want to make sure that you make a folder right now, like after the call, like before you go and do family stuff, before you do, I want you to make a folder if you don't have one that is like social media post ideas. And then I want you to pick 3 people to follow in Beachbody. So, some top coaches that you vibe with. And if you aren't sure of some, you need to just, kind of search through Instagram and find some people. You can literally go to like Autumn Calabrese, click the arrow next to her follow thing, and then under it will show you people that are like Beachbody, and you'll probably come across a top Beachbody coach. And then 3 people that are not in Beachbody, but like that are in your niche or your target market that has a really big following that you can get ideas from. Then I want you to follow them and screenshot anytime they post something where you're like, oh my God, that's such a good idea, or oh my God, that's such a good post. And then save it to your folder. And then the next time you're trying to figure out a post, don't completely copy what they say, but just get an idea from it. This will avoid you telling me or your upline, I don't know what to post, because you should have this folder completely filled. And then also plan segments and repeating characters. What does that mean? Segments are basically situations where like you repeat things on your Instagram story, usually more so for your Instagram story. Like, for example, I do a Where's Ned segment on my Instagram. I like Ned will be somewhere funny. I'll like search around and find him and put Where's Ned at the bottom. So if you have something where maybe you scare your husband or your kid always like spills his food every time he eats, like make something repeating so that people want to come back and see it. It's entertaining. Repeating characters are just like your husband popping in there, not necessarily saying something, but showing him, showing your mom, showing your kids. People like repeating characters. I don't know what it is, but they are. Okay, story, story, story. This is so key. You've heard it 1,000 times. But are you doing it consistently? Really ask yourself. Your story is unique to you, and it's the only thing that sets you apart from everyone else. So you need to take time to sit down at some point, if you haven't already, make it a goal with it from today until next week that you're going to sit down for an hour and you're going to write everything out about you, your struggles, your childhood, relationships, school experiences, any experiences for that matter, jobs, mental, physical, anything like that. Just brain dump everything. And then you can have this giant list that when you're trying to, think of a vulnerable post or a share my story post, you can work from them. And then you can puzzle piece it every week. You don't have to tell the whole story in one post, but you can kind of share that. And I'm going to share some examples. And share not only the what, but the why and how you are overcoming it. Because that's the whole point of all of this. You don't want to just share that you struggle with an eating disorder, but not share how you've gotten past it or how you're working to get past it. And you want to share how coaching and Beachbody in general, challenge groups and things like that have helped you do that. So these are just some examples of mine. Obviously, some of the captions cut off. I'm not going to read it. But this was a post I made about me struggling with an eating disorder. And you want to always make sure that your first sentence is the most interesting one, or that it's eye-catching, or it makes someone want to stop and click that see more button to see what they say. So I just talked about how I basically tell a story. I talked about how I came across this picture, and I remember I took this picture the day I developed an eating disorder. I walked into a modeling agency. They told me I wasn't small enough, blah, 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 blah. So I told that story. This was a before and after I shared, and I basically talked about what this is the product of. Like, this is me learning to love myself before the weight came off, you know, support from other women, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, talking about how this was the way that I reached my goal and how I like doing at-home workouts. Again, sharing my story about how I've gotten to where I've been. And then this post was just talking about anxiety, about how I struggle with it, why it's helping, or why it has been, you know, it was plaguing me at that point. So again, just different ways to share, but there's always, nobody gets through their, you know, gets to 25 and doesn't have any problems. Like, everybody has something. So there's always something you can talk about. Okay, moving on. So grow your following and engagement. Social media is constantly changing. And this is something that, like, I will continue to talk about all the time because it's never the same. So instead of complaining that Instagram's algorithm sucks and that no one sees your stuff, you just have to adjust, because you can either complain and not move anywhere or figure out how to make it work for you. So you want to make sure that you keep bringing new people in every single week. So these are some ideas recently that I've heard. Likes no longer really matter. Like, before, I would say go and like 500 pictures a day. It only takes 5 minutes. It takes a like takes a second, and liking 100 pictures takes like 100 seconds. So it's really, really not that difficult. So what the goal is now, and this is something that you can just do in the morning. You can set a timer, do it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, as long as you have. And you want to pick a hashtag that's in your niche, not health and fitness, like something very specific, like vegan breakfast ideas or new mom, whatever. I don't know, something specific. So go in that hashtag, click on the picture, then click on the account and comment on 3 pictures from that person's account. And then like pictures, whatever. That person's going to see you comment on 3 pictures. They're very likely to come to your page, and then they could follow you. That's going to bring new people to your page. I've been doing this every single day for a while now. Also, use your influence. Shout out other profiles that have a similar following as you, similar following as in as many followers as you. Now, if you have 1,000 or you have 500, you can do people with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But if you have 1,000 followers, don't do it with somebody that has like 500,000 followers, because they're probably not even going to see it. The reason we want to do that, and you can also ask shout out for shout out. Be like, hey, I just came across your page. Like, I wonder, I don't know if you do like shout out for shout outs on your Instagram story. Like, I'd love to shout you out on my Instagram story. If you wanted to shout my page out, let me know. And most people are willing to do that because they're also getting engagement from your people as well. So that's something you can do. And then interacting with your life phase. So that means if you're a new mom, think of Instagrams that new moms go to, you know, whether that be about like diapers or about breastfeeding. Go in there, go in the comments and comment and interact with people. See what conversations are going on and get in there, get your hands dirty. That's going to bring people to your page. Another way to boost your engagement and the keep bringing new people in every week is to hopefully grow your following. Boosting your engagement means once the people are there, that they're actually liking your stuff. So one means comment back to your people as quickly as you can. I am not somebody who thinks that you should respond to notifications as soon as they come up because it's distracting. But right now with Instagram, it is a lot better, and it's better for your engagement if you comment back to someone as soon as they comment on your post. So it's the only thing I do immediately, and the only notifications I have pop up on my phone are Instagram comments. I don't have anything else. Number 2, this is something really strange, but it's something I heard that helps. So it's to go back to old pictures and old posts. So go to like a post that you made like 6 months ago, go to the likes in your own picture and click on the profiles of the people that liked your picture, and then do the whole 3 comments on their thing. What that does is people who may have followed you, but with the algorithm no longer see your stuff, it brings you back into their awareness. So again, it's not something that you have to spend hours doing. Just spend like 20 minutes a day doing it, and you're going to get better engagement. And there's making sure you're posting at the right time. Make sure you're sharing your post to your Instagram story. You do that by going to your post, clicking on the little arrow next to the comment button, and it says share post to your story. So you can share Oh, wait, I want to share something before I go into this. So I'm going to briefly breeze through this because I shared this in the team page. But this is an Instagram growth guide. This guide is something that was just recently created by Chalene Johnson. It's really, really helpful, and it kind of just talks about growing your Instagram. So she talks about how likes are completely irrelevant, and the reason why is because Instagram's no longer just liking a picture. Our attention is divided into 5 different features. Number 1 is carousel posts. So that's posts that are multiple pictures. People don't usually double tap them. They just swipe left and move on. Instagram stories, IGTV, Instagram Live, and blog-like posts. So the comments under photos are becoming more like blog posts. This just means that even if you think that you're not having a lot of likes, doesn't mean that people aren't seeing your stuff. Their awareness is just a million different places. Okay, so these are just 5 ways to boost your engagement. So number 1 is to create savable posts. This means teach people something, give people something of value. Maybe if you're posting a workout and you post like, here's the regular workout, here's the modifier, and you make them swipe left in a carousel post to be able to see. That's likely something somebody's gonna save. Maybe you make a post with a recipe including it. Somebody's gonna save that. So create savable posts. The Instagram algorithm goes by how many times a post is saved. And I did not know that until I read this. Create carousel posts. So those carousel posts are where you're selecting more pictures than one. Like let's say you took your kid trick-or-treating and there's like 6 pictures of him trick-or-treating. You could do the carousel post when you go to your Instagram and you go to make a post. There's like the 3 little buttons and it shows that you can select more than one picture. Select more than one picture, create those. The algorithm actually likes those as well. Instagram stories, which you guys already know. And I don't know why this is 5. I only see 3. Maybe I'm not scrolling down to 5. I didn't. It says post at regular intervals. Make sure that you're mixing it up. It's not just only your face. Be brief, post captions, or that's just for Instagram stories. And then build text posts. So this is when you're doing an Instagram story. Instead of putting all of your font in one, make it so it's clickable. So like make this first one with the text and then save it and post. And then upload it and then add this text and then save that and then you add another one. So you kind of layer the posts. So all you do is make the post, you save it, and then you go to put a new Instagram story and you upload the one you just saved and then you just add text to it. When people can kind of click through it, they're more likely to stay. I don't know why, it's just easier. Number 4 is to use hashtags wisely. You can be banned or ghosted if you use very common hashtags. Like if you use fitness or you use health, like that's not going to be that great. So I usually only stick to a few hashtags and I make them super specific. So like instead of vegan, you could do vegan breakfast ideas. Instead of, new mom, you could do new mom quick recipes. I don't know, whatever. Like I just keep thinking of recipe things, but you want to make it very specific. And then be social. And this is just kind of what I was talking about interacting with people, actually talking to them is really going to get you far. Okay. So we only have a few more things. Okay. So this is the last little point I want to make. And this is use social media to build relationships, not sell. Obviously, we are technically selling things. We're Beachbody coaches, but we're sharing what we love. But you want to make sure that you're not just thinking about, I'm trying to sell stuff. Give back to the people. Give value. That's why you really need to read this book. It's incredible. You can pick it up on Amazon. You can read the audio book. I recommend getting the actual physical book, but it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. It's by Gary Vaynerchuk, and it's all about how to use social media to help grow your business. And it's amazing. And it's written really like user friendly. It's not like this like super dry, boring book. But that book will really help you understand how to serve versus looking for things being handed to you. If you're constantly posting, join my group and do this and do that and sign up here and do this and all of that, you're not giving people a reason to want to do that. You need to give recipes. You need to give tips. You need to give value. You need to give inspiration. You need to do those things so that when you do actually ask for people to join your group, they're going to just want to. They're going to be like, here, take my money. So that's why it's important to make sure that you're doing that. So that's the first thing. Second thing is when you're building relationships, and this comes when you are going to find people to eventually invite. You have to have a formula, and I teach this. It's in day 9 of our 21-day coach training, and what that is find, build, interact, serve, invite, follow up. So that means first you find people to actually, talk to, whether it be through hashtags, Facebook groups, whatever. You need to find people. I recommend 15 new people each week. That's a great place to start. Second is to build. That means build a relationship with them. Comment on their Instagram story, comment on their post, comment on their IGTV, like interact with them every 2 days. That's usually what I do. And I track this through Google Streak. If you don't know what that is, you can check it out on the team page. But you have to have some place that you're tracking your people, or you're going to just be a hot mess. Then the next is to continue to interact with them. Ask them questions. I always like to comment on their Instagram story and ask a question, so they're more likely to have to respond versus just like sending you a thumbs up. And then serve them, and that just means serving on your page as well. If you interact with a lot of new moms on your page, make sure you're sharing tips for new moms. So those people that you just interacted with can come to your page and be like, oh my gosh, this girl's so awesome. And then and then invite. So I always invite after at least 3 weeks. You don't have to wait for people to say that they need to lose weight or they need to do anything. You just spent the time becoming a friend with them. Your invite can sound something like this. Oh, hey girl, by the way, I totally meant to mention, I don't know if you'd be interested in something like this, but me and my team are going to be holding this free group. It's a free clean eating group. You get free workouts, free grocery list, free meal plans. It's going to be really fun. We're giving away prizes. Let me know if you'd be interested. If not, no big deal. That's how you're saying. You don't have to wait for somebody to say that they need to lose weight for you to send that kind of invite. You're just like, oh, hey, what's up? You're sending it like a friend because you just worked on building the relationship to be a friend. And I usually do that for at least 3 weeks before that happens, or before I send the invite. And then the goal is to just follow up with them. If they say no, or they say that you don't have time or whatever, just say, I always ask, is it cool if I check in with you every month to just let you know what new groups I have going on to see if it might be a better time? And then you ask them, can I follow up? And if they say yes, then that is your in to follow up with them once a month, every month, until they say yes. Because again, the goal is to invite them to a free group, and then once they say yes to a free group, get them in there, and then invite them from the free group to a challenge group. But that's really the goal. And then don't forget about finding coaches. Finding people that you're going to invite to a free group is great, but you should still be on the lookout for people who are crushing it on social media that have a similar following as you, that you can just straight after that 3-week process of building a relationship with them, just invite them to coaching. So that's what I do. I have a list of people that I build a relationship with, and then I invite to a free group, and then people I build a relationship with and just invite right to coaching. And the coach invite is just like, hey, I've been following you for a while now, and I love your vibe. You're super cool. Like, I don't know if you've ever thought about online wellness coaching, but like, I'd love to have somebody like you on my team. Again, you need to really figure out your coach invite, but anyway. Okay, so these are the last few points, and then I'll let you guys go. So these are just some different ideas of posts. Obviously, I'm not going to give you guys the basics like workouts and nutrition. Like you can understand that and just like go on Instagram to find that. But this is like an inspiration post. So I talked about, and I got this from my personal development. So if you're reading personal development, use the amazingly awesome authors that make personal development books and turn their content into your content. You can quote them if you need to, but if you just got inspiration out from them, just share it. So Obstacles Are Just Detours in the Right Direction is from the book Universe Has Your Back. And I just talked about, the different things that, I struggle with and my inspiration and my thoughts. So I just kind of shared that. This was another quote, and I like to start posts with quotes and then kind of think of how can I turn this into my own story. So I basically I had like a really bad morning this morning, and I was talking about shedding, the old, whatever the old means for you, and I talked about what that meant for me. So I talked about that. And then this was me just talking about how I didn't feel or couldn't work out, and I'm really into crystals, and having green fluorite on you in your pocket is really helpful to heal you of an injury. So I talked about that. I talked about all of those things. So just and then again, this is giving value. This is giving value. Like I said, give value. If I'm giving value like this, people are going to want to come back to my page to see what I'm sharing. And this was a post that did really well for me. If you want to go back to my Instagram to read the full post, you can, because you can turn this post into your own post. But I basically talked about exactly who I am and was like, who else there is like my twin out there? I talked about how I like tattoos, music. I'm really loud. I talk a lot. I get really excited over the littlest things. I love food 24/7. I like wearing heels and getting dressed up, but I also bum it like 80% of the time. And when I made that post, there were so many girls that messaged me. It was like, oh my God, we could be best friends. Like, so sharing that, even if you don't necessarily get a ton of interaction, sharing those things, you're gonna, speak to those people that are just like you. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Number one, I want you to take action now. So put in your calendar a date that you're going to start making a game plan each week. All this stuff is super important, but if you don't sit down and say, okay, this is what I'm going to post for the week, and you might struggle with it a little bit in the beginning, but I promise you, I do it every Sunday or usually Monday morning. I take my piece of paper, I write Monday through Sunday, I put it down there, and then it sits right on my desk, and every time I make the post, I scratch it out. So I really recommend that you do that. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Well, I will let you guys go. I so appreciate you taking out the time to hang out with me. I also appreciate anybody that's watching this recording too as well. I hope you guys have an awesome night, and I will see you soon. Peace out, guys.